Hello everyone, this is Teddy Keckstedt from Forex Trading Unlocked, and we are here on August the 1st with a live Forex trading analysis webinar for you. We're going to go over the major currency crosses real quick. We just pulled up the forex-trading-unlocked.com website, and we have our disclaimer page pulled up. So really quick, we want you to read the disclaimer. This disclaimer is just to remind you that this video is for illustrative and educational purposes only. Remember that there is a little bit of a lag as far as the latency of the data coming in and coming out. So this is a live video. However, we are slightly behind when it comes to the information streaming through here. All right, now with that being said, let's move forward with our analysis. All right, so from the navigation bar, we've already pulled up the workstation tab, and we're going to toggle past the calendar. We have some numbers that you definitely need to pay attention to on Thursday and Friday. We have numbers for the U.S. and Canada, as well as the PMI for the U.K., and then we also have the BOE interest rate decision on Thursday, as well as our unemployment claims. All right, so we have the Euro-US dollar chart pulled up. As you can see, the market is trading pretty much right in the middle of its range. We're going to go over to the Dixie chart and take a look at what the dollar index was doing leading up into today. All right, so one thing that's very important here you need to watch out for is that the Dixie, although it has been in the bear trend or corrective mode the past couple of weeks, we are heading into some strong resistance. The upside correction zone here, as well as a critical long-term directional pivot point level, is a very big area for the dollar index. So that's this little spot right in here. Now remember, we were just said that we have the unemployment claims coming out on Thursday, as well as unemployment coming out on Friday. Now one thing's for sure, these numbers are very important right now if you're watching the Fed and trying to figure out what they're going to do or not do with interest rates over the next meeting or two. Now, it's my forecast is that they are going to continue to raise rates for the next couple of meetings at least. I would be very surprised if the Fed was to not raise at the next meeting or even the next couple of meetings. One of the main reasons is that unemployment claims and unemployment have been low to tracking lower, and that is not what the Fed wants. Now, people are saying inflation is starting to curb. That's another misnomer there too, is that the only difference in inflation now relative to 3 months ago, 6 months ago, even a year ago, is that instead of inflation, think about it like this: if you were driving a car at 70 miles an hour, now you're driving at 65. Are you still not going fast, or you know, I mean, it's still very relative, the inflation that's affecting all of us. We know that it's going at a very high rate. It's still continuing. It's just not continuing as fast as it was, and it was going at a very incredible steep slope, and we all know that what happened over the last year and a half with many prices across the board. Okay, so now we are looking at this dollar index. We know that we are a bull, and we are bullish going into the numbers. Now, what is going to happen with these numbers is anybody's guess. But I would say, that it's very likely that you're going to see the dollar trend higher into tomorrow, and probably into maybe even into Thursday. And that's where I think we're going to start to see a buffer. And that's where you're going to start to see this Euro-US dollar start to get to a point to where it's going to find a bottom. Now, are we going to get all the way down to this downside breakout level and downside correction zone? I don't know. That's a tough one. There's a lot of issues with the European economy. The Bank of England is going to obviously they have something going on Thursday. We'll see what it is. My guess is they will do some sort of hawkish action. Are they going to raise rates? I don't know about that. Are they going to take some sort of hawkish action? That, I believe, is very, very possible. So if you guys have any questions about how these interest rate and Federal Reserve and other central bank actions are going to impact various currencies, don't be afraid to ask a question. I have no problem going back over to explain to you why these fundamental variables are driving the strength and weakness in the dollar versus other currencies, especially as we go into Friday. So right now I think the trend is holding overall with U.S. dollar strength. Obviously, Euro U.S. dollar today, we did not make a lower move low. We're lower than yesterday. Right now we're in the middle of the range. It's very, very quiet. And I think that's what you're going to see now for the rest of the afternoon as we wind down the U.S. markets over the next hour, or 40 minutes, excuse me, and then we head into the Asian trade in a couple of hours. Maybe we'll see a little action. If you do see a big move in the yen, it's possible to spark some other stuff with some of the other currencies. We'll see how that goes. Right now, I'm not too confident that you're going to see a lot of volatility. I think most of your action is going to pan out this evening, or excuse me, early tomorrow morning when in the U.S. time versus morning time in Europe. That's when their markets open. That's when I think you're going to start to see it. So if you're looking at U.S. time, probably around 1-2 a.m. Central Standard Time in the United States is when you're going to start to see the Euro U.S. dollar start to flail around again. We're treading this upward sloping support line. Now remember, this market has been in kind of a nice bull trend for months on end here. We're in a correction right now. We haven't confirmed any turn in the market. And especially if our scenario of dollar strength going into, say, Wednesday evening or sometime Wednesday into sometime Thursday, and if we get a turnaround in dollar weakness starts to prevail, meaning dollar weakness now would probably be a big profit-taking thing before you really have to start leaning on the weakness term. I would look at it more in that. And the same thing would be with the, like, for instance, like with the Euro US dollar. Should we continue to tread support even just a little bit more, we're probably going to find it a bottom here before the downside breakout level. Unless you see a really strong surge in dollar strength, I do not see the downside breakout level coming into play. Now, the Treasury bonds were down around 1.5 points today, and the 10-year note was down around 16, 17 ticks. Remember, ticks are the same thing as pips, but for futures. That's a big move and a nice jump in the yield curve, so that gives a little bonus to dollar strength, not to mention oil had a big surge yesterday. Today it's kind of calm, at least it was last time I checked. But that also is giving dollar strength and some relative weakness to some of the other currency pairs. So we'll look into that. If you got any questions about how those come in, once again, don't be afraid to ask. We do have, as far as the Euro US dollar, we've been looking on the intraday level too. It's been a chop fest for hours. Once again, I think it's going to stay that way for the next probably 12 hours until we get into the European session. Right now, we actually have a short intraday trade that's just been sitting there. It's been going nowhere. We're just above we're just taking a little bit of heat right now. We're right between our entry price and our stop risk. And, once again, we're looking for hopefully another test of the lows. All right, let's get to the British pound US dollar. Now, for the British pound US dollar right here, we have a very nice little move that occurred today. We did make a lower low here. So the weakness in the pound, remember we do have the bank rate decision coming up for the Bank of England. I do think you're going to have some hawkish action, but until then, it's very likely that we could test these lows. We're below the downside breakout level. Now we're obviously just above it. If we settle today below this downside breakout level, I would definitely think you have a good chance at hitting newer lows tomorrow, maybe even into Thursday. Will we get to this downside correction zone? That's a tough one. Once again, unless we see a big surge in dollar strength, I don't see that happening, but I do see us finding a bottom over the next couple of sessions and then getting a bounce. Now, are we going to get now this overall trend is a bull. Short-term correction is obviously a bear, and if our scenario is right that we start to find a short-term bottom, then I would say we're in a neutral to higher posture then. Are we going to continue this bull trend and take out the upside target level and go to new monthly and weekly highs? That is a little bit of a tough one. I would say the only way that you're going to see that happen, and it could, and these are where these fundamental variables, if numbers coming out over Thursday and Friday come into play. If, let's say the Bank of England raises rates a 1/4 point or even a 1/2 point, or if they don't do that, but they take on some sort of quantitative measure that is reflect basically the same thing. And without raising interest rates, they take some sort of quantitative, like pulling back on certain things. That would give a lift to the pound, and then that would also obviously hit the dollar. Now, simultaneously, when you have Thursdays, if let's say the Bank of England becomes aggressively hawkish and does one of those two things, or even a combination of both, that gives the strength there for the pound, weakness to the dollar, and if it's coupled with a higher, now remember, higher unemployment claim on Thursday, that would give also more pressure on the dollar, meaning weakness, and help give strength to the pound versus the dollar as well. That could get us back up to this upside breakout level. And if that occurs on Thursday, okay, now we're trying to figure out what would get us through the upside breakout level and the upside target level. Fundamentally, if we do get on Friday, let's say unemployment comes out higher. Once again, that has to come out higher. If that comes out higher, that means the Fed, although they may still be hawkish, it's going to start to ease them back on how hawkish they will be, not necessarily in the next meeting, but over the next few meetings as we finished out the year or even going into next year. If we start to see a trend in an uptick in unemployment, which is, remember, what the Fed wants. If they get what they want, they won't raise interest rates. If they don't get what they want, then that's where we have to worry about the other rate hike. So that would be the scenario, the perfect storm of fundamental numbers if it comes out. Once again, hawkish maneuvers by the Bank of England, higher unemployment claims on Thursday, and a higher unemployment monthly number on Friday for the U.S., that would push us up to this upside breakout level and even give us a chance to not only hit the upside target level, but start to trend actually higher towards this 132, 133 even area over the next couple of weeks. Is it going to happen in a couple of sessions? Absolutely not. But a lot of times, and this is very important for you that are watching right now, unemployment, when I was on the trading floor, we used to call it Unenjoyment Friday. Unenjoyment was because a lot of people would blow their weeks because of the volatility. They would jump in and just get shredded to death on the whipsaw actions that happened on that day. Also, if you played it right, unemployment could be one of your biggest days of the month. Like literally, you could make your month on that day, meaning that if you had picked your points and had your patience and had the right fundamental and technical view and things panned out, you could really set the stage for your month and hit your not just your goals, but take the pressure and stress off of making your quotas, if you will. So this is something I would pay attention to. Once again, for the British pound, we are right now a little bit bearish over the next couple of days and looking for a good buying opportunity. If we have a buy signal, which I'm pretty sure, and this is another thing, Unemployment Friday sets off a lot of buy and sell signals, whether it's just a key reversal day, which is a typical bar charting reversal for a pattern for those of you that are not familiar with what a key reversal day is. You also tend to get a lot of high probable Japanese candlestick patterns that form, whether they are bearish or bullish engulfing lines or piercing lines or dark cloud cover. These are all things that I cover in my book, High Probable Japanese Candlestick Patterns, which if you go to if you're on our website, forex-trading-unlock.com, you can go to on the menu. There's a link to show you all about the book. So, but these patterns, they tend to happen around these big major numbers. When they do, that helps to set the trend for a good, not just 1 to 3 sessions, but upwards of a week to sometimes upwards of 2-3 weeks. Now, am I saying that we're going to see a big reversal and a sell-off in the dollar and strength in all these other Forex pairs? I wouldn't say that it may be a major trend reversal, but I think we have a very, very good shot at seeing a turn come in these markets. As you can see, the pound, like the euro, has been correcting. Both of them are in a bull market. You know, remember how we looked at the dollar index? The dollar index right now is in a correction. It could very easily top out over the next couple of sessions and then start to hit the downside and then become a bear again. All right, now let's go to the US dollar Swiss. Now this is one you want to talk about, a mover and a shaker today. So we have the US dollar Swiss that had some nice volatility today. It came back off its highs, but still it's just hovering. It just failed to hit the upside correction zone. This is very key. We set a double bottom last week, and we've been rallying ever since. Today's volatility, considering how yesterday was actually much bigger for the euro and the pound, and now they're a little bit more quiet, US dollar Swiss, when this moves like this, gives me a good indication that we're right about our scenario about the dollar strength trending into tomorrow, into Thursday, and then reversing gears and somehow finding a short-term pivot point. We're meaning that the dollar is going to start to wane in strength, become a bear, and the other currency pairs will become a bull versus the dollar. Now, bull versus dollar doesn't mean that they're going up. Some of those pairs could be going down. Remember your relationship. So that, like for instance, this is a U.S. dollar Swiss. So this market is now in a bullish correction. We're viewing it only as a correction because remember it is in a bear trend. And now we were looking for it to run out of gas and turn around. Okay, awesome live chat. Oh, thank you. We got a nice comment on the chat. Well, we appreciate that. Thank you for the comment. And if you guys got any questions out there, don't be afraid to ask. All right, so U.S. dollar Swiss, once again, we're looking for another follow-through move on the daily basis into tomorrow, kind of like this, and then start to fall off. Now, this is the market, unlike the other ones, where you might start to see the euro and the pound once again gain strength. Remember, we have that perfect scenario that could possibly generate a British pound U.S. dollar rally. What about the U.S. dollar Swiss? What's it going to take here? Well, I'll tell you what it's going to take here. Not a lot. Okay, the U.S. dollar Swiss is in an overall major bear trend versus the dollar. Okay, that is a big deal. The U.S. dollar Swiss is also in a medium term, obviously bear trend. Short term, it's in a bullish corrective phase, but it's very weak. You can see that this is the biggest upside move we've had in months, and even still, it really happened over the past couple of days. Remember, we bottomed, and then over here, and then, here, let me get this so it stops doing that. Bottomed here, started to get some strength. We came down and made a lower low. That's from last week. We have a double bottom because they're close to lows, but the actual low came last week. And we've had the most upside action in the past 4 sessions than we've had as far as upside in that kind of a strength in months. So I think that's going to wane because of that also. Think about that. Volatility really is peaking in this currency versus the other European currencies. That helps to support our theory that fundamentals, if those are going to kick into gear and help us guide our sense of direction over the next couple of sessions, then we should continue to ride the trend. Short term, bullish strength for the dollar, looking to start to take profits now. If you're long the U.S. dollar Swiss, especially if you've caught any of this move over the past couple of sessions, and if we get up into this upside correction zone above 87.84 up to 88.37, anywhere in there would be a great place to take profit. Could we get up to this blue downward sloping resistance line, keeping the channel intact to the downside? Yeah, it's very, very likely that we may actually touch this. But even if we do, it may not happen tomorrow or Friday. Or if it does, I'm saying more likely coming into, not tomorrow, but into Thursday or Friday, because that's when this line here gets lower and lower and lower. It becomes closer to this 88.37 area. Once again, then we have two resistance points converging on each other, helping to suppress the trend. I think this is a good scenario. We'll watch this. Now, this is also a good clue. You know that if you start to pull back severely already tomorrow and going into Thursday, well, then we're very likely going to hit that downside breakout level, especially if those fundamentals for the if dollar weakness starts to come into play because of the numbers. All right, U.S. dollar JPY. Look at this. Shabam. This one here, we got more volatility here than we do in most currencies as well. We have a nice breakout to the upside. Yesterday, we had a nice challenge of the upper part of our short-term upside correction zone. Remember that this market here is in an overall bull trend, okay? We just came off a nice downside bearish correction, bottomed up nice. Now, look at this. Just like how the other currency, remember how they double bottom in the Swiss? We had that little push here with the yen. This was a higher move low, and now we've made a higher move high. So as far as our correction here, we had made a lower move high, higher move low, and now a higher move high. We are now in a neutral to higher posture. Remember, we also talked about crude oil. Crude oil had a breakout to the upside. We're going to take a look at that real quick just so you can visually see what I'm talking about. We have a target of 84.98 and 87.5, even extended beyond that. Right now, today, we're right around this 81.76 area. Not much action on the crude, but over the past few sessions, you can see how that has rallied significantly, and that is something that is helping to fuel this, no pun intended, this surge over the last 3 days right here, okay? Now, even if as long as crude doesn't come back significantly, as long as U.S. yields are pressing higher and crude is strong, it's very likely, and especially right now, we're looking at having a close above this downward sloping resistance line. I think making a play for the 145.13 area is very, very likely over the next 24 to 48 hours. And let's say our scenario is correct and we're starting to see the U.S. dollar wane and sell off come Thursday or especially into Friday's number. What's that going to do for the U.S. dollar, Japanese yen? Well, I'll tell you what it's going to do. For the U.S. dollar, Japanese yen, it is going to start to have a little bit of a lag. Like this would probably be the one currency that if we're going to see a pullback, it's going to be not as severe with the yen. The BOJ is already they had already acted the other day last week, so right now there's no reason to think that they're going to do anything else again anytime soon, just because they've already done 2 actions in 4 months, and that in just over 2 months. Yeah, it's between 2 and 4 months. What was it back in April? That was, so it's been a little over 2.5, almost 3 months since they acted the last time. That's more action than they've had in like a couple of years. So that the BOJ and the Ministry of Finance in Japan do not do things very often. They take a very long-term stance on what they do, and they see how things pan out before they make another adjustment. That being said, good chance of taking out the 145.13 above here if the dollar starts to come under pressure. And then also you got to watch the interest rates. If interest rates also, remember, if our scenario is right fundamentally, what's it going to do? The dollar is going to sell off. The yields should also pull back, meaning you're going to see a rally in the 30-year Treasury bond and the 10-year notes also. If you start to see that happening, meaning higher bond and 10-year prices, lower yields, that equates in dollar weakness. That helps to give us less of a chance of holding a rally in the U.S. dollar yen. And then I would look to start to, if you're long, take some profits up in that area. I mean, could it keep on screaming and keep on rallying? Of course it could. But fundamentally, with those things, we are setting ourselves up for another correction for the U.S. dollar. A correction for the U.S. dollar versus many pairs, like for instance, like the U.S. dollar yen. So now, are we going to have a big sell-off? No, but what I could see us doing is over the next couple of sessions, get up to 145.13 or just above it, spike above that, and then start to come back and then settle into a range trade, whatever new high we set over the next few sessions. I think that, or few sessions into next week, that should put the upper end of our range into a short-term lock, and then we'll see us start to pull back and swing around. Now, are we going to get back below 137? We may not. Unless oil pulls back like $5 to $10 and we see a big pullback in yields, I do not see us getting back below 137.22 here anytime soon. So I do see us falling back into this area for a nice correction, stabilize, and then flirt with rallies. And even if the dollar is weak versus most relative currency pairs, it's probably going to stay strong versus the U.S. dollar yen. I don't think this market is ready to turn. Remember, it is in a bull market. I think it is going to continue to be a bull market, and we'll see how the fundamentals pan out. But once again, right now, those are in place to slow down the U.S. Japanese yen bull, and then stabilize the trade for a little while. But lots of good swinging action. If you look at most currencies versus the dollar, this one in the last 2 weeks, if you're a swing trader, boy, you've had some opportunity here. And that's something I think you're going to continue to see in the U.S. dollar yen trade. All right, now we're going to go look at the Australian dollar, U.S. dollar. This one here slams some new lows today, brother. Let's see. What days and times do you live talk? So we got a question about when do I talk. Right now, we're just getting back. We're still on a summer schedule. We're starting to get back into some live videos, and where I'm coming on talking to you like I am right now. So we will be setting a schedule. I have to figure out how I can post it on our YouTube channel for you guys. I'm going to have one put out on Twitch, so we'll be running them kind of simultaneously. Where because right now what we're doing is we're keeping a live streaming signal most of the day on both Twitch and YouTube. This is a very good question, so we're going to get back to the analysis in a second. But for those of you who do want to know when to tune in and hear me and talk to me and chat with me live, when you'll really catch me, we are once again building up our schedule, and we are during most of the day we will have live signals for the Euro US dollar on Twitch and for the pound US dollar on YouTube, or vice versa, or whatever is really kicking that day or that week. And then we will be having scheduled webinars as well as some other interesting lessons and things like that we will have a schedule for. On our Twitch page, Forex Trading Unlocked, if you go there and sign up there, there's a spot for schedules. We haven't posted them yet. Once again, we're figuring it out this summer for our fall schedule, because then we're going to lock it in with between the weather, and we know lots of people have they're finishing vacations, kids' school, and stuff like that. We're trying to build our audience and develop some good content for you guys. We do have some webinars coming up. I have a Japanese candlestick webinar coming up in 2 weeks on our partner company, tfnn.com. We have an e-option webinar coming up the end of the month in August too. So I will be posting these links for you. These are free webinars for you to show up, except for the one candle. There's one on TFNN that will be free, and then there's another one that is for our current subscribers. There is going to be a charge for that one. But that's going to be a very good candlestick webinar for those of you who are interested in learning how to trade those. And these things apply for all markets as well when it comes to these candlestick pattern things. We're going to do how to use option trades and things like that as well, which you can use for futures as well as many other markets. Can you post on the community so I don't miss it? Absolutely. That's a great comment there, and thanks for the question here from No Beginning Nor End. Yes, we will post that in the community for you. That's a great idea. So that way you guys can find that there and pass it on to your friends and mark your calendars as well. And also, for any of you to have any, if you don't have questions today, if there's certain things you would like for us to possibly bring up as webinar topics or work into our webinars, please drop it on the chat or in the comment section on our videos. We do look at these things. We do take them into account. So thank you again, No Beginning Nor End. Now back to Australian dollar, US dollar trade here. So of the markets that sold off today, this one obviously hammered. I mean, it made a higher move high and then a lower move low. So this is on just a classical bar charting. This is a key reversal day in play right now. It hasn't finished right now, but if we were to settle where we are right now, that would be a very negative indication that we're going to press these lows, which fit our scenario of dollar strength and other pair weakness going into the next couple of sessions. Give us a chance to maybe flirt with the 65.51 area. I mean, considering the range that we had in the Aussie dollar, US dollar trade today, it certainly is not out of the realm of possibility to get down there in the next 1 to 2 sessions. This is where I think you're going to start to find a bottom. This market has been in a choppy, windy range trade, say that 10 times real quick, right, for quite some time now. Now, the one thing that has happened is the lower part of the range and the upper part of the range has expanded, but really, look at where we're at. I mean, if you you can't make this stuff up here. I mean, this here contains the bulk of the trading has been between these two green lines here. Those are actually, I guess you could say, critical directional pivots. This is it. So right now, we're in the middle. Can we get below it? Stay below it? That's the key. I think if we could settle down here, especially come Friday after unemployment, if we settle below this downside target level, then I think you could be rest assured that the long-term trend for the Aussie US dollar could continue to really set some new wide monthly and weekly lows. Excuse me, I need to take a sip of pop right now. Excuse me about that. I've been talking so much today. It's been a while since I've been doing this many webinars and feeds and stuff. So we did a webinar on Twitch, and we also did some for one of our partners earlier today. We got another question. What time is option webinar tomorrow? Our option trading webinar is not tomorrow. It will be on Wednesday the 20... Hang on a second. Let me pull the calendar real quick for you guys. All right, so you want to know when that one is. That will be in 3 weeks. That will be at 1 p.m. Central Standard Time. And I will post that in the community for you. So Celtic Spike 7, that particular webinar will be in 3 weeks. I will post it once again in the community thing later. And we do have one, the one candlestick mark one will be on the 14th. I'll post that one as well. And then I will also post the dates for, we're going to have a bunch of, like we're doing now, we're going to have some analysis videos. So tomorrow I am trying to figure out when I can get that in for you guys. Probably won't be in the morning. We'll probably come back after a lunchtime trade, probably around this time tomorrow afternoon. So I will put that into the community this evening, so at least tomorrow morning you'll be able to find out when we come on. So thank you for your interest, without a doubt. And like I said earlier, I don't know if you just joined in, we are starting to build a schedule for the fall, something you guys can start to count on. We've had a lot of changes and shakeups and changes for our business model here over the summer. We're trying to make everything much more fluid and better for you. We're also expanding our market range as well. We'll be covering a lot of the BRICS currencies and also a lot of Asian currencies. We have a lot of interest now in Southeast Asia, as well as obviously the BRICS. And these things are going to impact these other major Forex pairs. These are things that, especially because a lot of you are global, you're not in the U.S., I'm sure you're going to be looking forward to it, because it'll give you lots of opportunities for other trades. Remember, the beautiful thing about Forex is there are so many currency crosses out there. There's always some market moving somewhere. All right, so Aussie dollar, we already covered how far we can go and what's on that one. So let's go to the New Zealand dollar, US dollar, and then we get to our special of the day, the US dollar Canada. Who knew the US dollar Canada would be the special of the day? But if you've been watching it lately or paying attention to our videos that we have been doing, or our newsletters, you would know what's going on, and we will get to that in a minute. All right, so New Zealand dollar, US dollar. This one here did not hit a new low, believe it or not, unlike the Aussie, but it's still very bearish. Now this one here I can see leaning on that downside breakout line. This market also has been in a big range trade, obviously, for the past couple of months, and it's acting very similar to what is going on with the Aussie US dollar trade, except this one, I think if there's a fundamental currency that has a chance to really stay bearish against the dollar, kind of like the yen, it's the New Zealand dollar, US dollar. This currency here is a house of cards, and fundamentally and technically in shambles. So I can see this one, no matter what happens, trending lower. And if we can close below the downside breakout level sometime between tomorrow and Thursday, then even if we have a positive move in the dollar, I would say I would be very cautious getting long the New Zealand dollar, US dollar. That is something that I think you're going to have a lot of trouble with. For you, those of you that are also still tuned in here on the YouTube, I just put a link to our newsletter that we put out for the week off of LinkedIn. This is a free newsletter. It costs absolutely nothing for you guys, and it's also something that we have some trading signals on, some good analysis information, and heads up for the week, that we put out. And then sometimes we have some updates during the week too, and it costs absolutely nothing, just to let you know that. All right, so New Zealand dollar, US dollar, as you can see, very bearish move today, very similar to how the Aussie did. It made a higher move high, but this one did not make a lower move low. But I do believe we will see follow through on this one. Once again, it's a house of cards, and it's in a range trade situation too between this long-term directional pivot. It's very similar to what's been going on in the Aussie, as you can see. This has been in a very, very choppy range, spiking above and spiking below, but not being able to set a real trend. All right, now here's for the surprise of the day, the US dollar Canada, my friends. All right, we have a buy signal, a bullish engulfing line buy signal right here that was triggered on July the 14th. Remember that bullish engulfing line buy signal is a high probable Japanese candlestick pattern, and if you want to learn about those, if you weren't tuned in earlier, you go to the top of our navigation bar here, high probable Japanese candlestick patterns. There's a whole page that tells you about the book and some other things, some free info to give you a heads up. And we can see that yesterday we fell out. We broke out on Friday above this downward sloping trend line, keeping the kept the bear trend intact. This market isn't a bearish trend, medium term, long term, but short term, obviously, we're in a bullish correction. It was a grind trying to get above this entry level. We had sparked this buy signal back on the 14th, and here it's July 28th, 2 weeks later, that we finally break out and start to get some momentum to the upside. Monday, yesterday, it was like, oh, geez, what's going on here? And then shabam, boom, today, this is kind of like and this is where, once again, we've had some movers today. We saw from the Aussie and the New Zealand how they spiked higher, and then now they're making new lows or close to them. This is the same thing. This market pulled back, made a higher move low, and now a higher move high in one day. That's bullish. That helps to support our buy signal. We are now solidly above our entry price. And I think over the next couple of sessions, if we have remotely the daily range that we had today over the next couple of days, pushing into towards the unemployment number, we have a good chance of hitting the upside correction zone. Now, our buy target at 134.61, if it's going to hit there, I don't know if that's going to happen this week. That would take a big surge in dollar strength. And we know that we're looking for dollar strength to wane going into Thursday, into Friday's trade. So I don't know if we do hit that target, I think it's going to have to happen by us kind of swinging up and down into next week. I don't see it happening over the next couple of sessions. Of course, with the move that we've had today, this is the one that's still hanging up near its highs as we head into the close of the stock market and the close of the U.S. markets. Maybe if we see a surge in dollar strength tonight in the Asian markets right away, if we see follow through, if you see the U.S. dollar again pushing on, making new highs in a big way, and remotely any of the European currencies falling back versus the dollar, especially with that Swissy that we looked at. You see the U.S. dollar Swiss and the U.S. dollar yen. If those things are pushing new highs on a daily basis as we head into the Asian and European trade over the next 12 hours, then it's very likely that the U.S. dollar Canada for the overnight trade will follow through to the upside and may give us a nice lead on its way up and towards that upside correction zone. I don't know if any of you guys are trading the U.S. dollar Canada, but this one obviously has been a tough trade, the last couple of months. Most of the days it's been a grind, but right now we do have a chance at catching a nice leg higher. Is it going to happen? I don't know. We'll see. But it does seem like right now we are set up for these patterns to come into play. We do have right now a bit of dollar weakness going on in the major, the euro and the pound. So we shall see if that continues, but I think that's because the markets are closing, and as that happens, I think you're seeing a profit-taking move in the dollar. So I wouldn't get so bearish on the U.S. dollar, because look at, once again, the U.S. dollar Canada is still up near its highs. The Australian dollar, U.S. dollar, that's on its lows, So, and the U.S. dollar yen's up on its highs. U.S. dollar Swiss is up on its highs. It's only the euro and the pound that are kind of taking some profit-taking right now. Those are the heaviest weight in the dollar index, so that will make the dollar index move more relatively to these other currencies, even though they're much weaker against the dollar. So that's how those relationships are panning out. You guys have been a great audience, so I want to cover a couple of more things before we call it quits. So once again, if you're on our website, forex-trading-unlock.com, I want to make sure that you have a chance to check out the Tiger Forex Report page. This is our newsletter that we put out with TFNN.com. It's a very good weekly newsletter. You can check it out here. We have a 30-day guarantee on it. If you don't like it, your money is refunded within 30 days if you cancel your subscription. We cover all the major currency markets and also the dollar index, crude oil, and also the 30-year Treasury bonds as well. Another link you should check out is the high probable Japanese candlestick patterns page. On this page, we have a video about certain patterns, how to use them, and give you a little clue about the book. There's also a little preview of the book here. You can share it with your friends, and you can also click the buy button here and purchase it. That's something I would like. And remember, it's available on Kindle and also paperback. We also have the workstation page, where you get your calendar so you're always aware for different currencies depending on what you trade globally. It lets us know what the calendar events are. And then we have a nice page here where you can manipulate, you can put on different indicators and what have you, get rid of the volume, open up this, make the chart big. It's very functional. This is all in real time. You do not have to be a member or log in to use the Forex-trading-unlocked.com website. And here's something else, lessons. Just like you were asking about what kind of schedule we're going to start to build up for YouTube and for Twitch, well, here's our lessons page. We have right here, we have our best moving average strategy for day trading Forex. We have this page here. We have a nice video with some links that help you learn about this strategy. This is just one strategy that we use for ourselves for trading obviously the Forex markets. We use them in the US dollar Canada like this, and a lot of times when we have, for instance, like the bullish engulfing line buy signal and what have you, and these other signals, when they coincide with these other lessons that we have, different methodologies, that helps to support our trades. And that's one of the things that we do. Like people always ask, what do you use all the time? Well, we use a combination of things, and especially when you get solid confirmations of multiple different types of methodologies, especially if they draw off a different type of math. And that's something that over time, as you study the markets, you're going to start to see a lot of indicators come up with a lot of similar levels. You know why? Because the math is the same. Ultimately, you're not getting some special formula that somebody else came up with or whatever. A lot of them are just using the same numbers and just presenting it in a way that it looks like it's a whole different way of looking at the market, but it's actually using the same numbers, and you're playing out the same data points. So that's one thing that I've helped to kind of clear the air on with some people. It's helped them out, and hopefully it also helps you out as well. Now, also, since you're here, I'll give you a link to that other lesson that I talked about. All of you are familiar with McDonald's, I am sure. But did you ever know that there's actually a McDonald's pattern? How many of you out there, if there's any of you out there that know that or are aware of it, please put on the chat and say that you did, because I would really like to know. It's rare when I find somebody that does. So anyhow, there is a McDonald's indicator, and I'm going to post a link here. This is called the McDonald's Pattern Indicator Forex Day Trading Strategy. Check it out. Leave some comments on it. This one is a very good one, just like the lesson that we have on our website. This one here you can pull off of our YouTube channel. It's also YouTube and Twitch. We have it saved for you to view. All right, so we want to thank all of you guys for checking in at forex-trading-unlocked.com on YouTube. We really appreciate your support. Once again, we are going to start to build the schedule, and thank you for that comment. We are going to put it in the community section tonight to give you an idea about what time we will be on tomorrow, so you can tune in with us. And if you haven't subscribed to Forex Trading Unlocked on YouTube, please do so. Also, please do so on Twitch. Well, we do have one question. All right, looks like a gremlin. Bok. I don't know what that means unless your signal got interrupted somehow. That's possible. But if it hasn't, I don't know, maybe that's what that means. Looks like a gremlin. So I'm not sure. But anyhow, thank you guys all very much. We appreciate your time today, and we will be looking forward to seeing you guys tomorrow. By the way, once we end this stream, we will be putting back up our British pound US dollar signal page for you, so you can watch those signals. They will be back up in just a moment. All right, thank you very much. You guys have a great day. This is Teddy Keckstedt from Forex Trading Unlocked. Oh, here, look, the McDonald's pattern. That is on TradingView, and if you click on that link, there's all the instructions for you, my friend, on how to pull it up and also to how to use it. All right, you guys have a great day.